This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS preview show here. We have 14 games to discuss, James. Wednesday's main slate. That's because it's voting day around the country on Tuesday, so no NBA games on the slate. So they gave us a monster Monday, 0 on Tuesday, a monster Thursday, 2 games on Thursday. So every other day this week going to be a banger, but we got 14 games. You're coming off of a really nice finish on Monday. Nearly took down the 27 single over on DraftKings there. Ran a little bit out of steam per your tweet there, but 2% Jordan Hawkins decided this was the night he's going to hit every shot.
Every shot.
Having the pivots. And listen, I want to start off today's show because we've talked a lot about it a lot in the Discord this year. My big wins this year have come on pivots. Your wins this year have come on pivots. And we stress it during our live streams as well. But I want to kick it off here because a lot of you are just tuning in and maybe you don't last the whole show. Hopefully you do. But staying up to date on the news and being available to make the necessary pivots are really the difference makers, especially these games that are more towards the middle to the back end of the slate. Because a lot of people, once 7 o'clock comes, they think, okay, roster lock's done. Time for me to go feed the kids, mow the lawn, make dinner, do all this stuff. And then 8:30 and the Pelicans lineup comes out, or 8 o'clock and the Pelicans lineup comes out. And at that point, a lot of people are either A, locked into all their guard spots already, because what do we talk about and what do you get on me all the time for? Not positioning my players in the correct spots to be able to make certain pivots, but also they're not around to make those pivots. So Jordan Hawkins, you weren't sure if it was going to be Daniels or Hawkins in the starting lineup. You get the Hawkins news. You get it in the middle of the slate where, again, some people are stopped paying attention at this point. You make the pivot to Jordan Hawkins. You get him at 2%. He shoots the light out. Now you're a top 5 finish in a GPP tournament. Those are the decisions that you guys need to be available to make. Hawkins was in our player pool in the playbook, so he wasn't an unknown. We did talk about the potential and everything we did on Monday that he could be a guy that starts. But you got to be available to make those pivots. Unlike any other sport when it comes to DFS, NBA, you can win or lose a tournament just based on your availability to make the right pivots. Now, pivots that went wrong for a lot of people. Marvin Bagley all of a sudden gets ruled as a starter 10 minutes before the slate. That is actually a time where maybe it's best not necessarily to make that pivot. Now, it doesn't always work that way, obviously, but everybody was in on Goga last night as their value center. 15, 20 minutes before roster lock comes out, Jalen Duren gets ruled out. Marvin Bagley gets ruled in. And a lot of people, because he was even a little bit cheaper, pivoted to Bagley. And the rostership that initially was like 60+% on Goga dropped down to what was like 35, 40%, something like that. And Bagley was right up there. So now all of a sudden, you don't make that change and you're ahead of half the field. Now, again, some days it works, some days it doesn't work like that. So far, the 2 times Marvin Bagley's been put in a spot to start, hasn't paid that price tag off yet, or hasn't made that pivot work quite yet. Right. But the Goga play, you stuck with Goga. Well, the majority of the masses pivoted. I've seen a lot of tweets from other analysts and touts out there. I was one of them as well. I pivoted to Bagley. Didn't work. You didn't make the pivot. You thrived because of it. So just the pivot game is crucial to NBA DFS success. We're going to do our best to give you guys those best pivot options when you go look at our player pool section of our playbook and the write-up. And then when we're in the Discord, like telling you which guys we're looking at, especially when news breaks, it's just crucial to be around, have your phone, be at a computer, turn on notifications when these things happen so you can put yourself in the best position to be successful.
Yeah, that is like become the most critically important thing. Like, we can put out a list of like processes that we have in place on things that we look at, things that can all change in this. Tyrese Halliburton ruled out, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander ruled in. Like, that could just stop on a dime, and you have to be able to pivot. What are the best pivots? And it's kind of like a thought-invoking thing. Okay, this high-usage player is out. Who are the natural pivots? Who are the natural players that fit that position? Who on the team benefits? Who gets usage bumps? There's a lot of factors that go into making pivots. sometimes, John, it's like when you're in a position where you have late exposure, it's like, okay, I know the field is all playing this guy. I can pivot to this guy and it may or may not work. It is more of a tournament strategy to do that. Like cash games, you do want to stick typically with the
chalkier
play, the higher owned play. But in a tournament, you look at it kind of like I did. And Dyson Daniels, neither of them had a lot of ownership last night.
And Daniels is still 10%, right?
And Jordan Hawkins was 2%. And I think, the perception of like, and I've been tooting Dyson Daniels' horn from the beginning of the season, but also we talked about it on the show yesterday. Who's shooting? Who's starting? Jordan Hawkins is doing both of those things over Dyson Daniels. He was a first-round pick, as you've alluded to a lot. He was, I think, inside the lottery or right outside the lottery. But the guy goes out and he shoots. So it's like having
it's a make or miss league,
Yeah, I mean, to be especially someone who plays tournaments and have success in tournaments, you have to be able to take risks. And obviously, the riskier play might have been Jordan Hawkins because he hasn't made a lot of shots lately. But like you said, the shots fell and he broke the slate. So pivots are very crucial. Sometimes it's just a pivot from, okay, I want to play the lesser owned player, not necessarily having anything to do with the news. Like, I'm just going to play the lesser owned guy. And we have our ownership forecaster on fantasyalarm.com where you can see, okay, Jordan Hawkins slated to be lower owned than Dyson Daniels. They're $200 different in a tournament. To be different, to potentially vault me into a different pay scale, I'm going to pivot to Hawkins. So I think you bring up really good points. Just a little cherry on top to that for me as well. Also just a funny part, both my near takedowns in the last week have both involved the New Orleans Pelicans. Because the first pivot, I pivoted to Matt Ryan when he was in the starting lineup, and I pivoted to Daniels. And then last night I pivoted off of Daniels to Jordan Hawkins. So it just goes to show you, I like Daniels at lower ownership in that first matchup. I really like Jordan Hawkins starting with Point Ingram, which, Zion had 9 assists last night.
And why the majority of the people probably went with Daniels, or not majority, but the 9% ownership, 10% ownership on Daniels was probably because the perceived notion of all right, Hawkins more of a 2. He was the one filling in for Ingram. Daniels more of the 1, should replace McCollum. They set those lineups. They know McCollum's out no matter what. Daniels is going to get some run. They go away. They don't make the pivot to Hawkins because they don't care at that point. They're not paying attention at that point. They don't realize Hawkins is starting. And we always just go with the shooters. Now, Sasser, another shooter last night, another popular value play, missed his shots. He went 3 for 10, still got hot a little bit, filled you out with some of the peripheral stats, but didn't really meet the number that we were looking for there. But a lot of people weren't also able to pivot to Hawkins because Alec Burks and Jaden Ivey got ruled out earlier. So they locked in that guard spot or that utility spot already with Marcus Sasser. So even you, I forget if you had Sasser in that lineup or not, but you just had the availability to move Hawkins where he was in that lineup. So again, just an early kind of rant, takedown explanation of just the importance of having to be available to make changes when that news hits here. It is a 14-game slate. We're going to get a ton of news, and actually we just got some as we were going to break here. Devin Booker officially ruled out already for Wednesday's slate, but Bradley Beal now considered questionable to play. So seems more likely than not that maybe Beal, because of the upgraded status, finds his way into the lineup for Phoenix here in this matchup against the Chicago Bulls, where we already know Devin Booker rather, has been ruled out. Let's get into this DraftKings main slate again. 14 games, totals and spreads available here, Grande?
Yeah, I'm not going to say everyone. We'll just mention the notable ones. Utah, Indiana, right off the bat, 242 total. Indiana giving 6 points at home. Washington, Charlotte, 240.5 total. Charlotte giving 4 at home. Those 2 games over 240. And then we only have, one other game that I see over 230. It's sitting on that line. Cleveland, OKC, 230.5. Interesting. I don't know if we have OKC news here, John.
Sure.
OKC home dogs against Cleveland here.
They were a home dog yesterday to Atlanta. I put out in the chat, in a chat of mine, I was like, hey, people are sleeping on OKC here. They They lost, but they almost beat Golden State at home. Then last night, they were a 1-point dog to Atlanta at home,
Right.
and that was after the SGA news. And I was like, what's going on here?
Right.
And I sent text my buddy. I'm like, hey, bet OKC tonight. Then that one's going to be that line's wrong, and they blow doors. So
yep.
I looked at that again as a 1-point home dog. Listen, I get Cleveland, right?
Yeah, good team.
They're good. They have Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, Allen. They're like, let's not. OKC's really good, dude.
They're really good.
So yeah, Andrews, that should be a fun game, I think, now that everybody's sort of back and healthy.
Yeah, I see. Even you said 1 point last night. It's 2 in some places for Cleveland on the road. So just those are the notables that we have. Let's see if there's any just big spreads. Real quick, Milwaukee 12.5-point home favorites against Detroit, who could be down multiple guys. Sacramento 8.5-point favorites. I don't know why Sacramento's favorites against anybody right now. That's it. That's even Boston in Boston Philly.
1-point spread. Boston Philly. Game. Boston coming off of an OT loss last night. Anthony Edwards taking.
Dude, yeah, I saw. You saw the 2-minute clip. I mean, you were probably watching the game, but I saw the 2-minute clip of Anthony Edwards in overtime where it was like steal, basket, or steal, assist, basket, rebound, basket, defense, basket, game over. Everyone go home.
Is Derek White the glue that holds the Celtics
together? I'm telling you right now, like, not from a fantasy perspective, I think he's their second best player. I literally think he's their second best player.
I mean, listen, Drew was obviously, guarding him a little bit, but Anthony Edwards, that would have been Derek White's man last night. So, I don't know. I'm just, throwing it out there. But I actually think this is disrespectful to Boston. They never lose to Philadelphia. Yeah. So I don't see that happening there at the 1-point spread. I'm going to be throwing some dollars on the home green there, even though they're on the road. All right, let's get into it. Point guard position here again. Obviously, we're recording now. It's the NBA, man. Anybody can get rolled in or out by the time this goes live. But we're going to take it as a slate is in front of us. Luka is at $12,000. SGA is at 10-4. Feels a little too cheap for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander here. Steph Curry 10-1. Halliburton got a little bit of a bump, but I am worried about a blowout there against Utah because Utah is hot garbage. Lillard $9,100 against Detroit. Some 9K above plays. Yeah, so I think the Luka thing is pretty much like set in stone for me. He's gonna have big games. Just no need to get to him for me. No, not with Irving active. He just doesn't get the. I know you and I debated this last year, and he's like he does still give you 5x, but he was giving you like 8x. So when Irving's on the floor, it's hard to trust. Dude, and there's still 2 guys cheaper that went for 75 plus fantasy points last night. So SGA I think is more than okay. This is one of the best game environments on the board. Some injury that he was dealing with. He then comes back and plays 37 minutes. I agree on the I'm not against getting to Steph Curry either. Just throwing him out there, but in Denver, I guess was my initial worry. But I mean, that was a really fun game last night between New Orleans and Denver's playing no defense. They're just running up and down the floor, just outscoring people. Okay with Curry in tournaments. So I'm happy that we're finally seeing the Halliburton price, but you're right. Utah's in a blowout, whether they're blowing teams out or getting blown out, essentially every night. Their offense is pretty good and probably can keep them in games. It is only a 6-point spread. It is worth mentioning both these teams, top 10 in pace, both these teams, bottom 5 in defense. So it is a really good game environment if you want to get to Halliburton. It was a wild sweat last night. Halliburton point props in at 20.5. He had, I think, 18 or 19 going into halftime. I think he had 20. He might have 20. I think he had 20 at half. And then he only finished with 23. Imagine sweating out a half a point on Halliburton for the third quarter. Needing him to make a bucket. I felt that with the Gordon Hayward rebounds the other day when the entire basically game without one rebound. Finish up with getting the over there. But thoughts on Dame here popping up against Detroit? Any interest? Really good spot. The minutes have been pretty secure, even in blowouts. We've gotten 30 minutes in the 2 games that there's been wide margins, but
It's a good price. He's obviously the second option on this team.
Did you say cash games then?
Yeah, cash games feel pretty good for Dame.
Okay. Under 9K guys. We'll talk about Scotty Barnes at small forward. My Twitter timeline blowing up today with people who just disrespectful to Scotty Barnes.
It is disrespectful. That list in general. Our boys. I saw Şengün a little too low on that list too. But Barnes.
Someone that was high on that list was LaMelo Ball. No, Tyler Rozier again going to miss at least the next couple of games. It's Washington though, so. Again, speaking of teams that get blown out and do blow out, both Hornets are teams that get blown out and do blow out, and Washington just gets blown out. So every game. So I mean, I would love to play LaMelo Ball, and we say this all the time. Like they play their guys. So you know, there's still a good chance in a blowout. He plays 34 minutes. It feels risky. If I play a couple lineups, I'll probably still find my way to one LaMelo here, but they're home. Again, Washington is so bad. So bad.
Dude, I'm going to say this. I'm going to take the complete opposite end.
Okay.
As of right now, and it's 14 games, and I'm not going to like call anyone like a must have. He's really close for me because everything you just mentioned, like first off, Terry Rozier going to miss this game. And we just saw, Brandon Miller start. A back-to-back, we were not sure where LaMelo's minutes were going to sit, especially because he's been limited. 39 minutes. Yeah. No overtime, 39 minutes. Absolute, like, limit completely gone. And he's not a $8,900 player.
And we say it all the time. The man was shooting so poorly. Shots finally dropped for him.
Yep.
And with no Rozier, he took more shots. Yep. So, all right. Yeah, again, I'm not opposed to playing him. And we say all the time, Charlotte they play their guys. They just play. Yep. Remember, LaMelo Ball was supposed to be limited. He was playing 31 and 33 minutes. So,
39. Yeah. 39 out of the clouds. Also, you know, when you're facing the team that's playing faster than everyone by 3 possessions.
All right.
And they're dead last in defense.
You made your point. So the cover of today's show is going to be LaMelo Ball.
Probably.
Brunson's in the mid-tier, again, going against San Antonio. Knicks are actually a pretty big favorite in this game. Yeah. They just blew out the goon squad there of the Clippers. You know, everybody, how do you beat Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden? Easy. They're not that good anymore. So the Knicks blew them out. I don't think the Knicks are even that good. Brunson's 83. Big bump for Malcolm Brogdon. Appropriately bumped. 65, 78, 82, coming off 54 and 47. Near double-doubles in both games here. Another guy that's not shooting well, 6 of 20, 6 of 19. And you've been saying this whole time, Sacramento plays no D.
Nope.
Plays no D. And this game is actually a close spread, too, isn't it? Like a couple of points. So
yeah, this game sits at 8.5. Sacramento is 8.5 point home favorites.
I thought it was smaller, but maybe, you got the number in front of you there. Does Sacramento feel like an 8-point favorite team right now?
No, they just got torched by Houston back-to-back games. Torched. I guess that's is that the Fox? We don't know officially if De'Aaron Fox is going to play or not. I guess he was ruled out Monday, but he's not ruled out yet. So could that be like the books setting it up for Fox to play?
I mean, even if Fox plays, isn't that probably better for this game or no? I don't know. Fox doesn't play defense; he just scores.
I know, but they're so good offensively.
Sure.
With De'Aaron Fox, and they've scored less than 90 points in back-to-back games without him.
That's fair. If Fox is out, do you play Brogdon then?
Probably. I mean, dude, like you said, the shots are not falling, but still 19 and 20. Stuff like 39 and 44 minutes. You would think the guy's hurt or something. And then the near triple doubles in back-to-back games. You've said this forever. It's you cover the player's name and you just spew out the stats. You'd be like, oh yeah, I paid $8,200 for this guy. It's probably like LaMelo Ball or someone else inefficient. No. It's Malcolm Brogdon in the flesh. So, yeah, him.
6 and 7 extra return rates for the last 2 games on DraftKings for him. So, I'm probably not going to get to Maxey. Maybe a little hometown bias here. But assuming Derek White is back, I think he probably will be.
Yep.
I worry. I don't know. What do you think? $8,200 for Tyrese Maxey.
Tournaments. I mean, look, the offense is running through Embiid and Maxey, right? So
The Embiid assist numbers are crazy.
Yeah, the Embiid assist numbers.
He's just looking at Joker and he's like, everybody said that guy should win the MVP, so I'll just do what he does.
Yep, that's basically. And I don't know if you saw, he's also shooting like 50% from 3 this year too. So like
he's just pissed. He's tired of losing, so he's just like,
yeah.
He probably looks at what Denver is and is like, all right, they only had 2 guys. They had Jokic and they had Jamal Murray. I can do that with Tyrese Maxey. Like,
dude, there's the reports. Like after those like reports that the Knicks should trade for Embiid, Embiid came out like reports of his own saying like, I want to play in Philly. Like I want to make it work here. So which I obviously respect greatly. I think that's awesome to hear. But I could get to Maxey in the tournament. I mean, that should be a fun game overall.
Yep. Houston was in that blowout game, so obviously the numbers for a lot of these guys the other day were not great. Would you run it back with FVV here against the Lakers?
Sure. I mean, I don't think they're going to blow the Lakers out, but I guess that remains to be seen. I also could see
AD plays in that game.
Yeah, an AD potential sitting spot. He said he wanted to play all 82 games. I don't know if you heard that. That was a quote.
Yeah. Then he was having groin spasms.
Never heard such a thing.
Never heard of such a thing either. There. Garland 72 is a cheap.
Yes.
Assuming there's no limit here because he was limited initially coming back. They were saying he's still playing 32 and 30 minutes. I think this is a core player pool play here.
Yeah, he's I mean, this is a really good basketball player who is a nightly double threat too. The turnovers are a little high as well. I think we're going to get some positive regression in that regard. So yeah, I'm definitely.
How popular is Bradley Beal if he's active at $7,100? First game of the year potentially for Bradley Beal here.
I don't think that much. He did like some weird 20-minute workout like pregame. I'd have to assume he's limited. He's also priced at the same price as the best scorer in the world. So I mean, dude, what is
45 actual for miss? This is your GBP guy every night, right? Like if you make 20 lineups, you have to have Cam Thomas in 3 of them, probably, right?
Yep.
Well, I mean, dude, he got 45. He's $100 cheaper than he was. And who's guarding him? Westbrook or Harden? Because that was their starting backcourt. So,
and they've already said that that's what their starting backcourt's going to be. Just like moving forward.
24, 33 shots. I mean,
16 threes last game.
Dude, he's an absolute monster shooting the basketball. Yeah. 7K tournaments. I'm in there. Where are we going next? Probably Schroeder at 67.
Yeah, Schroeder 67. The price is definitely on the rise, but he continues to be productive. 40 plus fantasy points in 3 of his last 5. Double doubles in 4 of 7 games this year. So I mean, that's really good to see. Obviously, there's no AD. Like D'Lo is somebody that I think did he get thrown out of that game last night? I think he got ejected.
Yes, he did. He got ejected.
So he only finished with 29 minutes. So like 28 fantasy points, 29 minutes. Like he's going to play close to 40 minutes in a competitive game here, especially if there's no Davis. So I could definitely get to some D'Lo. Clarkson and Sohan seem like probably just both tournament plays at their prices.
Yep. Reggie Jackson disappointed last night at his price tag. He didn't do too
Dude,
much.
I messaged you. I said they're literally just running Jokic up the floor. Jokic legitimately brought the ball up every time last night.
Yeah.
So like why even put Reggie Jackson on the floor? It doesn't help Reggie Jackson that Julian Strawther went like 8 of 9 in 20 minutes last night from the floor, and like
we brought him up on opening night too, but maybe a guy because of his hot preseason. So definitely a name to maybe watch for some value here as well. So I guess Scoot Henderson's questionable, so we'll see if he's in or not. That will obviously impact the Brogdon news there. Derek White at 5,900 feels pretty good though if he's active. I don't mind giving that a dart throw. Again, a guy that in tournaments can win you. He did it against Miami. So if he's in the starting lineup and he's active, I don't mind just throwing him in some tournament lineups. Kobe White gets Phoenix at 53. Anybody I missed in this range in the mid tier, low tier?
I don't know, like Trey Jones, but that game was a blowout. He only played 19 minutes. Don't love that. His brother, Tyus, actually in a game where they like let them play minutes, he played 33. That was good to see. 13 shots is okay, but pretty low floor. Nothing that I love. I don't even know about the value. I guess Sasser.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
true.
talked about Killian Hayes. I poo-pooed it because I don't think he's a good offensive player. But three straight games now, 4 for 8, 4 for 8, 8 for 12. So if he's going to make his shots, he's giving you 32, 25, and 42 fantasy points, and they're not really moving the price. It's Milwaukee. We know they don't have a great defensive backcourt. If Burks and Ivy are out again, 30-plus minutes are coming Killian Hayes' way.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to just even he is not a good offensive player.
No.
He's on the floor because there's been a lot of reports that Jaden Ivey is just not bought in defensively, and that's Monty Williams just kind of teaching him you got to earn your minutes in the NBA. And I think Killian Hayes is going to be pretty popular at 4,900. I know that game is a big point spread and whatnot. And if you wanted to, in that play game theory, game narrative, Sasser's obviously cheaper than him, and
Sasser's playing the minutes really right now.
Right,
anyway, so.
right. And but you just have to assume he would probably be more likely to play blowout.
Yep.
Too, probably just plays, right? No matter what the scenario, they just play Marcus Sasser, especially if there's multiple guys out. So Hayes is definitely in play, and I think Sasser is as well.
Alrighty. Let's go on over to the shooting guard position here. Again, Booker's already been ruled out. Donnie Mitch is 96. I mean, usually we don't play Mitchell unless Garland's out. Would this be a spot where you would consider him, or still priced too high for you?
Yeah, I mean, even with Garland, the last few games, he's been really, really good. So I don't think it hurts. I never think it hurts. We know Mitchell's going to get his shots and get his. I don't think it hurts.
Roster play. Nobody's going to play him when Garland's in. So
yeah, no one's going to play him at the price. No one's going to play him with Garland's in, and it doesn't hurt that an elite passer is playing alongside of him. An elite playmaker who draws more attention is playing next to him, right? So I could see myself getting to Mitchell in tournaments. I don't hate that idea.
Talking about these APK plays: Edwards, Bain, Cunningham, Hero, Ingram. I mean, that's a pretty strong 8K group.
I don't think there's a wrong answer. Ant obviously dominated that Celtics game. He has now dominated multiple games in a row. He's 30 plus in 3 of 4 games. And he's stuffing the stat sheet peripherally as well, which I love to see. I mean,
I still feel like he should be a better defensive stat player, but maybe coming soon.
Remember the games we were holy cow, he had 4+ steals in 10 straight games. And I remember saying it to you every day, there's no way he's going to do it again. You're I think he's gonna. I'm no. And then he just did it. And you're all right, well, maybe this is just who he's going to be. So maybe some positive regression even coming there. Hard to not like Desmond Bain in the volume, 26 and 27 shots the last 2 games, 30 actual in actual competitive settings. Now Miami's a different team. Maybe they're not, but Miami's not. I don't think Miami's
Utah, Portland is the Desmond Bain matchup the last couple of games there. So a little different.
Yeah, I would say a little different for sure. Cade, blanket statement, tournaments, move on from there. And then, Hero.
Mr. 20 shot.
Yeah, he's going to take a lot of shots. If he was as efficient as he was in the Washington-Brooklyn game, you get similar production. You get 45, 46 fantasy points.
He makes 3 more shots. He's in 50 fantasy point range.
Yep. So. And Ingram, at the opening, he didn't do anything because Zion did everything else. Zion almost triple-doubled. The 22 points were great. 36 minutes were great coming off an injury. 2 games back, he's already at 36 minutes. And he's playing point guard. So, I assume we're going to get more point Ingram and the perfect.
And it's a tough matchup. You pointed this out. Minnesota, one of the number 1 ranked defensive teams. So,
number 1. Yep.
Could be a tough spot for him there. JB, always a tournament play, but I don't like they moved his price up there. Yep. Shaedon Sharpe at $7,600. Nobody played Shaedon Sharpe the other day. Still played 41 minutes. If Scoot Henderson's out again, or maybe it even doesn't matter if Scoot Henderson's in or out, 41, 36, 38, 42, 46, 41.
How do you not start him? How do you not just move Thibault to the bench? Because they were starting Scoot over Shaedon. If Scoot comes back, how do you say all right, Shaedon, thanks, but you got to move back to the bench? How do you do that?
That's what I'm saying. Breaking news for your Giants here: Jacob Eason signed to the practice squad. Celebrate. Levine, listen, I said last night on the show I wanted to get in some Levine action. He got off to a really hot start, and then they won by 30. So didn't get the full run, but he had 24 actual in that game. So Phoenix, it's a 1-point spread. So competitive game. Levine, $7,500.
Yeah. Phoenix has been. Let's see. They rank okay defensively. They're like middle of the pack in terms of pace. Like this is
they beat Detroit with just Durant.
Just Durant. So. Yeah, he's 41 actual in that game for KD. Yeah, I'm okay getting to Levine. You know who I'm also okay with? This, John, is the perfect Jordan Poole game. Because I don't think Charlotte's good enough to blow them out. And I think this is the game.
We're getting $7,400 too, like prices. I mean, it was 74 last night, but he opened at 81 to begin the year, so then the number's dropping for him.
This is the 40. This is the 40
I
burger.
expected more shots out of him. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Same. It's also been he's limited, but like he's also like not playing like 25, 20 minutes. Like,
well, when you're doing self alley-oops and all these things,
that's
not really grabbing favor with the coach there.
That's fair.
6K below group here. Anybody jumping off the page to you?
We mentioned Russell.
Yeah, I kind of scrolled through. I didn't really see a ton that was here, but I mean, some guys you can obviously take darts on. Jalen Green had a decent night. Monk, if there's no Fox, Heald has been scoring the ball a little bit better lately. OG Reeves had a big night the other night. Probably had to do with D'Angelo getting ejected. Eric Gordon's 57. THT sucked, but they got blown out. I don't know. Not an exciting tier here.
Definitely not an exciting tier. I would like Reeves a little more if there was no AD. Sure. He almost triple-doubled, so more rebounds to obviously go.
Reeves have been really good. Like games we expected out of Reeves was more like this Clippers game.
Yep.
I thought we'd see a lot more of that this year, and we just haven't yet. So
he's coming. He's coming. Yeah, he's coming. 3 straight games with 30+ fantasy points. That's still 5x plus. I'd be okay getting the THT here if you think that this game can stay competitive. 23 minutes, like I know he had 5 turnovers and he only scored 5 points, but like the peripheral stats are still just there. Like if he reverts back to that 20-shot game or even somewhere in the middle of 5 and 20.
Just give us this Orlando game. 31 minutes, 15, 3, 8, 1 with defense. Like we'll take it.
Yep. And I think that's well within reach, especially when you factor in both these teams don't play defense and play really fast. So
yep, I agree with you. Some value plays here at the shooting guard position. Where's Daniels is down here at 5K. Where's Hawkins at? Hawkins is 47. So, and we know now that Hawkins is going to be in the starting lineup. So again, it is Minnesota.
2%, right? He's going to be 2%.
I don't know. This is probably your fade Hawkins spot, right? Everybody's going to go to him. He's 4,700. He's on the road against the best defensive team in the NBA. So probably your fade Hawkins spot.
Well, in tournaments, like if he's chalky in cash, you probably just play him because he's 4,700 and you just saw what the ceiling could be because he makes all his shots. But I don't disagree in like tournaments. Definitely something to be like, I don't know if I want to get to a guy in a 14-game slate that's like 60% on.
You pointed out the Branham played the minutes, didn't score, didn't do anything else, so no value there. Kennard's still getting some minutes, 32 minutes.
Yes, he sure is.
So 4K for Kennard, probably assuming status quo there with the Memphis lineup. Let's see, where's our guy? Is he a small forward?
He's 3K.
All the way down
Shooting guard, small forward, didn't bump his price.
Why can I not? There he is. I mean, again, play 19 minutes but hit every shot.
Dude, I was like, the way he was also like hyping up the crowd. He was like, it was sick. He pulled up like from like 30. It was insane. And then he turned the ball over.
A bucket during the preseason. That's why he was on our radar on opening night. So
absolute bucket. I think like you're losing a 20+ point scorer in Jamal Murray. You're not making that up with Christian Brown and Peyton Watson. And
if nothing else, hopefully he earned himself some more run after this game, right? So if he can come out and just like hit his first shot or first 2 shots, some potential for him there. Any other value shooting guards? Okay. What did small forward here? JT is 10-3. LeBron's 95. I mean, LeBron versus Houston.
Yes.
And
with maybe no AD.
37 minutes in that game. 30 actual because he's a monster. I don't know if you saw or not, but LeBron signed an autograph deal with Topps, and they are releasing a 1-of-1 LeBron James, Bronny James dual autograph card.
My goodness gracious!
So some lucky breaker is going to be pulling the 1-of-1 Bronny James card.
Are you buying some? You gonna buy some packs?
No, I have no shot of getting that. I more than likely Topps ships that to like some viral breaker that they'll
Sure.
backyard breaks or something like that, and they'll pull it and create a viral card moment. But apparently the Bronny James autograph card has been pretty popular. It's part of the current Topps McDonald's All-American set. And there's been a lot of people tweeting out them pulling the Bronny James autograph, which is going for like $1,000 right now. So, $100 box, get it for a chance at $1,000 card in Bronny James. But that dual autograph LeBron Bronny is going to be crazy, probably on the secondary market there. Small forward. Speaking of awesome players, Scotty Barnes. I mean, he should 9 of 20 shooting. He still gave you 67 fantasy points. Rebounds.
He didn't do anything. Nothing in the first half of that game, by the way.
3 blocks, 3 steals. Got Dallas here. Yeah. He might be the show today. We'll see if we can find them at LaMelo and Scotty Barnes, maybe at like an all-star game together. We'll cover them. Great spot for him there. I still feel like Lauri Markkanen's too expensive at 87. I know he went for 29 actual in that game there, but I feel like John Collins is like taking away some of his rebounding lately.
Yep.
I mean, Buckets scored. You mentioned one of these days Buckets is going to score. He scored 28. So $8,100, more of a cash game play, but we know Memphis maybe brings out some tournament appeal for him there.
Yep.
DDR 73 again. I feel like these guys are too cheap. We've been saying it the whole time. He only played 30 minutes and gave you 41 fantasy points. So I do like them against Phoenix there at that price point. Keldon against the Knicks. Any interest here?
Yeah, I mean 24 fantasy points in 23 minutes, right? Fantasy point per minute kind of guy right now.
40, so they aren't going to be out there forever.
Lost by 40.
Oscar Thompson up to $6,900 now.
Yeah. Oh boy, another 4-steal game though. Like he just does it every slate. Obviously, there's more appeal. I think if Jalen Duran doesn't play because the rebounding upside. Although
he's scoring more, doesn't it just feel like Scotty Barnes a little bit? Like rookie season Scotty Barnes, where he wasn't supposed to really be an offensive player. He's supposed to give you defense, and all of a sudden, like the shots just start dropping for him, and so. But I feel like we're getting a little bit priced out of him.
Yep, agreed. I thought we were getting priced out last game, like on Monday or on Monday.
John's favorite player this year, a healthy Gordon Hayward.
Play him while you can. Play him while you can.
Dude, what? 62, 62, 62, 64, 66, 41, 29, 36, 39, 39. I don't know thank you. He'll be in the, if we have the mispriced value section here, Gordon Hayward right now, giving you 6+X, like the majority of the season here. And now going up against the Wizards. That's a lock play for me. We mentioned not chasing wrong player. He had a good night too. We'll get to him in a second. Mentioned maybe not chasing Michael Porter Jr. Probably should have chased Michael Porter Jr. Guy keeps scoring. Another 9 rebounds here. I don't think Golden State's going to check him. So, like him, RJ Barrett popped against in last matchup. He gets San Antonio. For what we lacked at shooting guard, we've made up at small forward.
Yeah, Hayward is a fantastic play, as you mentioned. Per 36 minutes, 38 fantasy points per game. He has a 5% usage bump without Terry Rozier this year. So love to see those types of numbers. Yeah, probably a misstep by the both of us with the Porter thing. And that goes to like Herb Jones is a tier 1 defender, like top of the list. But sometimes it just doesn't matter because these players in the NBA are just too good. He's 6'10" and can shoot over people, can jump over people, and might have been a first overall pick if not for a back injury at one point or another. So like
people said he was Durant coming out of college.
Dude,
and then the back injury happened. So
probably hard to like quantify specific matchups because you never know. Like people just switch. NBA is such a switching, like the way that people play defense. They switch, they drop, they do like all types of different things. So as long as there's no Jamal Murray, probably under 7K is too cheap for Michael Porter.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Again, RJ Barrett's here.
Yep.
31 minutes in that game against the Clippers, 38 fantasy points. He's been pretty good for the Knicks. Tournament pivot play, no one's going to play him, so some tournament value there. Denny against Charlotte. I mean, you like this matchup. So you get Denny, you have Miller at 58, Denny at 59. Could probably play either of those two if this game stays competitive. I've been standing on Denny all season long. He just needs to get the playing time to actually give us the ceiling that we're seeing here.
Yeah, the minutes crept up 28. I don't know if they're like capping him because there's an injury, like he was dealing with the ankle coming into the game. So I don't know if that was the reason, but every other, like that was the game where the starters played their most minutes in quite some time. So if this game does stay competitive, I think Denny's in play. Miller looks fine. He obviously showed a ceiling in the first couple games. This is kind of what happened in the summer league, though. He was really good and really bad, like game to game. It's nothing more than a tournament play. You love the minutes, no problems with the 12 shots. But like, dude, if LaMelo is gonna go for 14 assists and 12 rebounds, like there's just no room for him peripherally.
If Beal doesn't play, are we still playing Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon on obviously with shooting guard? They're up over 5K now. So not as valuable as they were earlier. Do you have any interest in these Suns guys if it's just Durant again?
Probably. Where do we got Gordon price? 57. I was gonna say Gordon probably feels better because I feel better about his shot attempts. Yeah, you could play him. They're not like I wouldn't say they're priorities, but you can get to them.
Okay. Anybody else down here? Kamara, Zaire Williams has been pretty good still. Rebounding the basketball has been pretty crazy for him. Any other value small forwards on your radar?
I'm looking maybe at. I mean, I like the 25 minutes from Kyle Anderson.
Sure.
Last game, he just didn't really. Anthony Edwards did everything, so there was
35 minutes out of Torian.
Yeah, all these plays are pretty low floor. I would say maybe Matt Ryan played 25 minutes with no CJ. He didn't play at all in the second half. He barely played in the second half, didn't play in the fourth. So maybe, but he scored 17. Jay Crowder had another really solid game. With Middleton limited, Jay Crowder's been kind of playing a bunch of minutes. Sure. He's been super efficient from three, right? He hit 4 threes. He's hit 2 or more in 4 straight. So that's obviously aided good production. I don't think there's any priority value down here, though. I don't know if
I agree. Not unless some news breaks here as well. I mean, Strawther can be played there as well. Power forward position. I think we'll have one here. I haven't seen him as we scroll down. Assuming he is a power forward. There he is. $4,800 on. They gave him a little bit of a bump there, too. I like Santi Aldama. We'll talk about him when we get down there. But Roddy didn't play at all. They played Aldama. Durant's 10-6. Giannis 10-5. Mentioned Tatum already. Would you spend up for any of those three? As a core build for this big slate?
I mean, we said the thing about Giannis on Monday's stream. I'm not going to tell you not to get to him. Mm-hmm. The price continues to fall, and he goes for 62, right? We know that that's what he can do in a closely contested game. This doesn't feel like one of those spots, but also you look at Detroit, it's okay.
I feel like Detroit had Milwaukee's number of times last year, too. There was those random games where we thought below it were happening, and then they played them tough. So
it's the NBA, right? Anything could happen. That's what Kevin Garnett told us. So, if you want to play Durant, if he has the team by himself, if you want to play Giannis, who is Giannis, if you want to play Tatum, any of these guys are fine. Zion, almost triple doubles, actually shows us a ceiling, in a game where he only scores 20 points too, where you're oh, no CJ, he's going to score, he's going to try to get 30, where, I don't know. I feel like all these guys are
Wemby's debut in the Garden?
That is true. I'm not I don't think either of us are huge narrative guys, but the Garden narrative has been something that you and I have I
think we created.
Yeah, and it's worked, especially when we've always Giannis in the Garden or the Stars. I mean, this game is probably has been sold out for like.
How many threes of Julius Randle does he block? That's my question.
How many shots in general of Julius Randle is he gonna like? All of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
the point spread obviously is a little worrisome in this game because they're just trending towards a Knicks blowout. But 8,600 is still a pretty good spot. Triple J at home against Miami.
That is a key statistic here. I like Jaren Jackson quite a bit in tournaments for sure.
Agreed. Moving our way down the list, Towns 81. You called him out yesterday. Didn't really come through against Boston. Wouldn't have expected a tough spot for him there. Holmgren, Mobley, these guys have dual position eligibility. You've been a big Kyle Kuzma stan this year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like isn't it like it's Tyler Hero-esque where the minutes aren't as secure, obviously. The team is way worse, but death taxes, Kyle Kuzma taking a bunch of shots, and he's been pretty efficient doing so. I mean, we're talking about a guy shooting 50% from the floor. 35 from three is not terrible, and he's actually been pretty good the last few games from three. It's just scoring. He's really good peripherally. This game environment's elite. Like if Kuzma's low owned, I think Washington is priced pretty nicely in this spot. Like Jordan Poole 74, Kuzma 75. If games that have stayed competitive-ish, they've played 30 minutes, right? So if you can get Kuzma 30 minutes, you've seen 44 and 44 fantasy points. What if this game is what it says it's going to be, 240 implied points, and
it's a very stackable game where how everybody
very, very
agreed. And Jeremy Grant, he went off in that game in the second half.
Dude, I like Jeremy Grant. I thought it was a really good spot for him in fantasy this year. He's pretty much doing what we have learned Jeremy Grant to do. Like he can score the basketball really well, and if you get peripheral stats, then it's a win.
Right.
In Detroit, he had 24 actual, and he had 26 fantasy points. Like, I would love to play a guy scoring 21 points against the Kings right now, but it's really random if he's going to get peripheral stats or
not. Poor version of Michael Porter. We have Keegan Murray here. If he could just knock down some shots like he was earlier in the season. We were cooking a gas, but he's been missing his shots lately. Maybe he gets it going against Portland there. Jabari coming off again, a tough game for us. Blowout, didn't play the minutes, had 21 and 22 minutes. So that was great. We just didn't get the 30 minutes we needed. Up against LA here at 6,200. John Collins at 6K. I am a fan of as well. So some decent guys here in that 6K range. I'm not sure what to do with PJ Washington here. Again, I liked him in that one spot against Brooklyn. Paid off for us here. But he hasn't really paid off any other game. So
the scoring's been great. It's just been inconsistent everywhere else. And I'll just throw one more name out there. Aaron Gordon. $6,700. I know we don't think of Aaron Gordon as a $6,700 player. Double-digit fantasy points or double-digit actual points in three straight, 40-plus fantasy points in three straight, back-to-back double-doubles, 5+ assists, the steals. Like, Aaron Gordon, I saw, like, they were running the offense through Jokic. Obviously, Jokic is the hub for everything. But, like, if you're not going to play Reg Jackson, Michael Porter's not passing the ball. Yeah. Strother's just shooting anytime he's on the floor. Like, Aaron Gordon's their next best playmaker, realistically. So I think that these numbers could realistically continue without Jamal Murray.
The moment he goes in my lineup, he's giving you 20 fantasy points, as long as you know that.
Please let me know if you're playing Aaron Gordon tomorrow, and we'll all adjust accordingly.
He just absolutely tanks every time I play him.
Him and Donovan Mitchell are your
Donnie Mitch too. I'm a Donnie Mitch killer there. Cannot get that man right. Isaiah Stewart had a double-double. I don't know if he can do it against Milwaukee. Is there? Let's see. I still like Bobby Poe in tournaments. Grant Williams continues to be pretty decent. Again, that game just 5 of 9, had 13 actuals. The worst game of the season, but I don't mind giving him another look against Toronto if you want to. I mentioned Aldama made his debut, played 20 minutes. He's a pretty good player. I think he'll see his role probably expand a little bit more. Stretches the floor, can hit some threes. He'll actually even give you some defense. Blocks as well. So $4,800 stretch. Again, they didn't play Roddy a lot in that game. I think he's taken over as that primary backup big for them. When they take out Biyombo, like Triple J slides to the 5, Aldama comes in and plays the 4, something like that. So I do like him. You've been harping on Naz Reid. Came through again, 29 fantasy points in 25 minutes. Running up against the Pelicans, probably a good spot for Naz Reid as well.
Yeah, so I like the Aldama call. I could see scenarios where he starts too, like if they don't start Biyombo, like the Heat matchup. It's an awkward game for Memphis if they start Jackson at the 4 because Miami took Kevin Love out of the starting lineup, and now they're playing Highsmith, and Highsmith stretches the floor. So I don't love Jaren Jackson being like away from the basket. So I could see a scenario where maybe Jackson starts at the 5 and Aldama starts at the 4 in certain situations. We'll see if that comes to fruition on Wednesday. But I do like the Aldama call 48. And I'm just going to, like Naz Reid just has a really steady role off the bench, right? Like you just know he's, other than the Denver game, which they blew Denver out and he didn't need to play more, he's going to play mid-20s minutes because he's their backup 4 and their backup 5. Like he operates as both. And if one of them gets in foul trouble, like last night, Towns had 2 fouls in the first couple minutes of that game, and Naz Reid comes in 25 minutes. So yeah, I mean, I don't see a real downside to playing Naz Reid. It's why we play Dario Saric too, like often. Like we play Dario Saric because we know he's going to play 20 minutes, and he's a super efficient player when he's in.
What an absolute buzzkill this game.
Yeah,
every other night,
every single one.
I'm cashing playing Dario Saric except for that matchup against the which maybe should have been my fault. They have Allen, they have Mobley. I should have paid a little bit of better attention to the matchup there as the punt play, but I'm with you there. I like Saric as a value. Kamara is someone you talked a lot about. I mean, again, he doesn't shoot, but he's been giving you a lot of other things, and he's been giving you some decent production at $4,400. Anybody else down here? Chetty kind of falls in that same Saric conversation. Torian, as I mentioned, played a boatload of minutes. Jalen Smith, another guy we talked about, another 20 fantasy points for Jalen Smith in 12 minutes last night. He didn't even get the blowout run. So that's a little concerning, but Utah's trash.
Yep.
So if you want a very low floor play, Jalen Smith could also go for 30, I think, in this spot. So
I was watching it, and Jalen Smith picked up like 3 fouls and was so mad that he went into the locker room after he got taken out of that game, or walked into like that and was punching he was punching laundry carts. They showed a picture of Jalen Smith punching a laundry cart.
He had 9 points and 7 rebounds in 12 minutes.
And he's a very, very, very dude. He's shooting 67% from 3. Like he's just a really, really productive player in short stints. I would expect there's no foul trouble, no blowout run. He does play like the 16 to 20 minutes, and like that would obviously feel better about it. But 20 fantasy.
So they didn't even put him on the floor at the end of the game to foul out. Just like, hey, go out there, like play till you're done, right? Like they sat him down.
Isaiah Jackson.
Yeah, $4,100. Yeah, I mean, I'll give him another look. He gives you 20 fantasy points here.
Yep, agreed.
Let's see here. Where's Craig? He had like 18 fantasy points last night, I think, right? What do you
3,800.
14 fantasy points last night. He's a little bit more expensive. Probably not. 20 minutes in the blowout there. Maybe if he played more minutes. Well, he had 5 fouls too, so I don't know. Also, maybe I'll consider a dart. I go back and forth on him. If he starts again, there's always a play potential for him there. Any other values to power forwards for you?
Not that I see, no.
All right, center. Joker's 11.7. We talked about the price yesterday. Didn't really move much. He went for 80. So got Golden State here. Certainly can go ahead and do the thing if you want. Jojo says I can do that too. 48, 11, and 6 in 31 minutes in the blowout against Washington. Gonna get the zinger matchup here, or maybe they start Al Horford double bigs. I don't know how they'll approach the lineup if there's no obviously if there's no White, they'll go double big here. But Jojo at 11, Jokic at 11.7, both there at the center spot.
Take your pick. I mean, like we profiled the Jokic splits at home yesterday, and then he goes off and he increased his home stats with just casual 35, 14, and 12.
Yeah. In a game they won by 18,
Well, they were, and they outscored them like by 30 in the second half because they were down by double digits at half. Sure. Because Jordan Hawkins was like just incredible. But I mean, take your pick. Like I know the Boston matchup in theory is tough. When you have a guy with as much upside as Embiid's had. He's put 75 and 81 on the board, playing 31 and 29 minutes. It's like it's really hard to ignore. And you talked about it before the show. Like the assists are where he's really separating himself from everyone else. And he's like, Jokic can do back-to-back. Giannis can do back-to-back MVPs. How about me? I can also do back-to-back.
Agreed. If AD is active for this game, again, he didn't play the entire fourth quarter dealing with the groin spasms, but yeah, 61, 65, 66, 55, 62 gets Houston here. I feel like AD can do that in this matchup. So
sure.
And still under 10K. So if AD's in, I'll probably definitely have some interest in him there. Run it back with Bam against Biyombo or something like that tonight in this spot against Memphis.
I played him against Washington, by the way.
I know.
Just want to let you know.
Went for 50 against Brooklyn. Went for 25 against Washington. Went for 73 against LA here.
But yes,
on the road, it is their first road game in a little bit, so maybe that hurts him a tad. But
dude, we know these guys can turn it on. Him and Jimmy, if they want to turn it on, they turn it on. If they don't, it's like Tyler Hero, take a bunch of shots and have fun.
Agreed. I probably don't play Chet going up against Mobley and Allen.
He has a ceiling, but 7,800. It's not the best price, but he
has 4 for 14 and gave you 45.
That's where I think it's really right. I mean, because the blocks and steals, because he's a good rebounder.
There was no Jared Allen in this game, obviously, but he did go for 53 against them earlier. He had 7 blocks in that game.
Yeah, he was talking after the first couple games because he didn't have any blocks and he was mad at himself. And then he blocked 7 shots.
Yeah. Last year, if you remember, we couldn't play any bigs against Cleveland because Mobley and Allen were just shutting everybody down. But maybe Holmgren's got the secret sauce there.
How about Şengün? Şengün, 79?
Yeah. If there's no AD?
If there's no AD, he's getting Christian Wood and company?
Sure. 12 assists.
12.
Yeah. I bet the over 5.5 this day. The only day.
Wonder when
over 5.5.
Wonder when that's hit this year. How many?
Over 5.5.
How many times that hit?
Every other time. Unbelievable luck we have.
Yeah.
Ayton keeps boarding. Keeps grabbing up rebounds.
Yep.
Get Sacramento here. Maybe a tougher spot to rebound with Sabonis. Sabonis against old dad's team narrative in play here. Miles Turner, 35 in 20 minutes because he can do that sometimes.
Yep.
Last time out. Zach Collins, again, blowout there in that game. They probably have to leave Valanciunas on the floor, we assume, but they don't, so I don't know. Fouled out against the Denver Nuggets, so.
He was there was a sequence last night late in the game where he gave Jokic space at the jumper and Jokic looked at him with disgust. You're literally giving me space. What are you doing? And then he fouled out. And,
Mark Williams against Washington feels like a pretty good spot for him against Gafford.
Such a foul trap. He's going to be so popular. He's going to 2 fouls right away.
Feels like a little trap spot, you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay getting to Williams. He's just I know he only had 3 fouls in that Dallas game, but he had 2 early. I think that limited 27 minutes. Nick Richards was good off the bench too. So I'm okay getting to Williams and tournaments.
Pirtle for $100 cheaper against Dallas here.
Dude, he's been really good. He's been really, really good. And they're not giving Gary Trent minutes anymore because they're just giving Jakob Pirtle minutes.
Which is smart. So he'll go up against a rookie and Lively potentially in that spot. Let's see here. Where's your next center play?
Walker Kessler. He's been better of late. 240 burgers in the last 5. The blocks, John, which is why we call him Blocker Kessler. Yeah, 4-3, 5-2 the last 4 games. It's GPPs only because we just can't trust the minutes. But if he plays 30, he has a massive ceiling.
Agreed. We play Eubanks in tournaments. I don't mind that at $5,200. He just another guy. 20 fantasy points pretty much every time he's on the floor. Go up against Chicago. There. If Biyombo starts again, probably have to give him a look. Played 26 minutes in that game.
5,100. Right out of the gates, 3,000. I'm happy DraftKings did this, right? Because It's like the Goga thing. Goga was 3K, and then they were like, no, we're not.
4,700, yeah.
We're not doing this again. And I
Only
appreciate
if he
that.
starts and only if Tillman is out. If Tillman's in,
Agreed.
I probably don't pay that price tag for him.
And I would rather I'd rather just play Revenge Narrative Christian Wood, not actually because of Revenge Narrative, but 5,100. Imagine AD's out of this game. Christian Wood, 70% owned.
I mean, he's playing anyways, right?
Yes.
So then you add in the fact that AD might miss. Yeah, I would agree with you. Probably would. Pretty popular play there. Kelly O, always in tournaments, came on 34 fantasy points in a Kelly O game. 23.
Kelly O, yeah, no one played him. Kelly O game. John, I'm gonna say Daniel Gafford, $4,900.
I thought you were able to tell me you were going to Bagley here.
No. We're not making that mistake again. 49, coming off another guy. Just needs minutes, dude. Just needs minutes.
He needs to stop fouling.
Well, that is
3 games,
sure.
5 fouls, and 4 starts.
That is probably more the reason. Definitely needs to stop fouling. Definitely a spot where he could foul. Definitely a spot where he could also double with like 4 blocks, because this is, a lot of points implied in this game. No defense.
Shout out to Hartenstein.
Just shout out. This is how you gotta end the show, just with Hartenstein. Yeah.
Shout out to Hartenstein. All right, let's build a lineup.
Let's build a line.
Where are we starting to dance here? We really like this like small forward tier down here.
Yeah, small forward was super elite. Yep.
What are we doing here? Gordon Hayward, small forward. You like LaMelo?
Yeah.
And Poole or Kuzma? You gotta pick one.
Or Gafford, who's a cheap center play. Kuzma? I'd probably go Kuzma.
All right. Shooting guard. We might as well just go back to Hawkins since we know he's starting.
Yep, for sure.
And just accept our fate with that matchup against Minnesota.
Yep. Easy.
Do we go Strother?
He's
gonna play.
He's gonna be 20 minutes, right? 20, maybe 22, 23. Maybe we extend, because he didn't actually even play, and there wasn't a lot of blowout run. They took the guys out with like 3 minutes. He didn't even play in those final like 3 minutes. He played straight 21 minutes of just domination basketball. I'm okay with it. Just understand that if the shots don't fall, he's probably not playing a lot. Michael Malone made it abundantly clear in the beginning of the year that that he's going to need to commit to the defensive end before he's fully in the rotation. So, and I know it's going to be hard for him to take him off the floor if he's making every shot, but I'm okay getting the straw there. Scotty Barnes, and then 5,300 is
Santi.
Sure.
Gives us $500 to play with if we wanted to move around too. Was there a 56 center?
Just missed Pirtle by a couple hundred.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like a lovely tier.
Was Alabama center eligible? Nope, just power forward eligible. If you wanted a full game stack, we could just go back to Gafford there, but I think Wood is kind of an interesting spot.
Yeah.
All right, so this is an example lineup for everybody. Giving ourselves a little Charlotte Washington stack. LaMelo Ball, Jordan Hawkins, Gordon Hayward, Kyle Kuzma, Christian Wood, Jordan Strother, Scotty Barnes, and Santi Aldama. $500 left over for everybody. Grande will have the playbook out for you all. Big 14-game main slate. Any final thoughts here for the people at home?
No, I think we shared our, at the beginning of the pod. Tune back in and make sure, please, like and subscribe to the channel. The thumbs up on the videos go a long way to helping us on our YouTube channel.
If you want to throw some comments in there, let us know who your favorite plays are. We'll get them in there.
John closing in on 5K subs too here on the channel.
We're close. So guys, we'll be in the Discord. We'll be live again 5:00 Eastern time to give you all the updated news and notes on this slate. Till then, we will talk to you later.